Hi guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to make Overmono's bass from the track Is You. Overmono are my favourite duo at the moment and I've seen them a couple of times live. If you haven't, I'd highly recommend. They play all of their stuff on like live synths, they're really good. They're essentially the new Bicep, not to put Bicep to shame, but yeah, they're going to be the next big thing if they're not already. So here is what the bass sounds like. Great, if you want to download this preset, you can get it from my Patreon. The link for that is below. If you sign up to my Patreon, you get access to all my presets and things like that. Great, so let's start with the notes. We go from G down to F to D sharp, to G to F to D sharp, and then up to A. We then go into the synth. What we've got to do is click menu, initiate preset, so you're starting from scratch. We then go to analog and we select the WRD waveform. We're then going to make a saw wave with it, but with a little bit of square to it. As you can see at the ends there, it's getting a bit squared off, so I think that's got a sawtooth. Sounds like this. We're then going to add this filter just to take off that top end. Also select it for oscillator B because we're going to get onto that in a second. So that's the sound as it currently sits. Make it a little bit lower, nice and bassy. We're then going to go to oscillator B and we are going to go for the same, so go to analog and WRD, make the same sort of shape, hasn't got to be too exact. We then want to pitch this up, and then in the specific track Is You, it's got quite a warmth to it, and that's because it's pitched down. See, already it's starting to sound just like it. So then what we're going to do next is go to the LFO. We're then going to change from BPM to rate and put it about 3.5 to 3.9, anywhere from about that sort of region. So let's go 3.8. We are then going to grab this little arrow tool. This LFO is going to be controlling the volume of both of the oscillators A and B. So it sounds like this. So better example. So that's a little bit too much, let's rein it in a bit. Slow it down, about 3.8 seems to work. Smooth it out a bit. Add a bit of a rise. So yeah, that's really adding some sort of analog feel to it and making it feel a bit more real. We are then going to go ahead and go to LFO number 2. We're then going to drag this bad boy onto, move this filter cut off, and then we're going to move it onto it like so. We're then going to play around with this just to make sure it obviously sounds spot on. So that's a bit too much. Let me slow it down. See what that is doing is moving the filter up and down slightly, only a little bit, so it almost sounds analog, and you wouldn't really notice it as a listener, but it's all these small changes and effects that make it sound really good on the end result. Add some res, boost it a bit of fat, maybe a bit less drive, more fat. be a bit more dramatic, but then it's a bit too much. I want it to be quite subtle. And there's a little bit of a pop, as you can hear, so that's coming from this, so let's increase that. There you go. And what you want to do next is make it mono, overmono, legato, and let's put this quarter so it glides a little bit between the notes. If I exaggerate that, see, that's too much, so we lower it down a little bit less. Perfect. So yeah, that's dialed in at about 57. In terms of effects, I don't really think effects are overly necessary for this particular one, as they wouldn't really have many effects as they usually do it from analog synths. So we'd obviously put the effects in afterwards. Let's add a bit of a sub to beef it up. Without it, nice. Let's detune these a little bit. And the final little touch, we can add this LFO onto the wavetable position. So it just adds even more movement. Let's hear that. Adds even more grit. What we're going to then do is detune it a little bit. So if we just do about -13 and +13. Too much, it's too much. So there's already a lot of movement, there's already a lot of stuff going into making it sound analog. So you don't want to be too extreme with any of it, and it's all these small bits that add up. So what you also lastly can do is add this into here. So in this macro, drop it down lower, put the macro up higher, then you can play around with it. Open it up, and then when you're on the bass here, then click this Serum macro 1, and you can fuck around with it like this. Great guys, thank you very much for watching. If you have any requests, please put them in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.